You do? You sure? Oh. Are you missing a page? What do you have? How many pages do you have? Do I do that for everybody?
I have 5 pages.
Okay, this one also has 5 pages. It's a mistake. 4 is the correct number. 2. Okay.
So we asked, what do you this 5 pages? What would you expect that people complain most about? We got too little lines, this was too much. Because everybody said too little, too much. They don't know if they've gotten too little, they know that
Okay. So you know you got too much. Alright, we're on top of Gimel and Alf. We are at the 2 dots. 3 lines down. Yerushalmi Eruvin, if you have a movie which is wide in the Tanamos at its front, so you have to.
A movie is a movie, right? It's just an alleyway.
Yeah.
What? We're talking about covering.
Yeah, but right. We were talking about covering mavos, covered alleys, but they are alleys. They still remain alleys. Yerushalmi Eruvin, if it's more than the Tanamos, you should diminish it. Right. Easy. How do you diminish it? You put a board across the opening of the mavui to make it smaller than 10 amos, right? You put a board across and diminishes the size. That makes the mavui permissible. Now, in the Mishnah itself, it said that you could put you have another option, right? What other option do you have? To put up a Tzuras Pesach. Besides actually putting a beam, you can put a Tzuras Pesach. L'roch of Isamris. You can you can diminish the width of the mavui by using a Tzuras Pesach. Rabbanan said you can use the Tzuras Pesach even if it's above 20 amos. That's okay. Says Gemara, wait a minute. V'lo keparetz b'miluo. V'lo keparetz b'miluo. I don't understand. Is it not open to an area which is forbidden? Now, it's a little bit difficult what exactly it means. The bottom line is that if it's so high, if it's more than 20 amos, so what is the Tzuras Pesach going to help? The bottom line is it's connected to an area which is forbidden to it. The truth is, this question will be both on the width and the height. In other words, what could the Tzuras Pesach do? Actually, it's more of a question on the width. I take it back. What could the Tzuras Pesach do? All Tzuras Pesach does is frame the problem, but how does it solve the problem? The problem is that it's open too much. Tzuras Pesach doesn't close it; it just, so to speak, frames it. Well, it doesn't actually narrow the opening. It doesn't literally narrow it. It just frames the problem. In other words, if the problem is it was more than 10 amos broad, so it's still more than 10 amos broad, right? Just have cased the problem in the Tzuras Pesach. What does the casing in Tzuras Pesach help? So obviously we know the answer to this question. Tzuras Pesach is like a wall, but the Gemara was going to tell us in what respect it's like a wall. Okay? So it says Gemara, says Gemara, it's like an achsadra. An achsadra is like a portico. You know what a portico is? What's a portico? Porch. Very good. So the porch. So guess how the portico works, though. What halakha principle works be match to the portico? Pitikra, the side of the roof. So here, the Yerushalmi is making a fascinating connection, which I don't think was ever made explicitly in the Bavli, but it's made now for the second night in a row in the Yerushalmi, that a Tzuras Pesach is similar to a Pitikra. Just like a Pitikra closes, it's a wall, so to a Tzuras Pesach closes, it's a wall. And therefore, it closes the problem. In other words, if you have the dimensions of your opening are too broad or too high, so Tzuras Pesach doesn't just frame the problem, it closes it just like a Tikra closes off the area around the Achsadra. Okay?
So it has to be a minimum size of the Tzuras Pesach?
4 by 10, yeah. But once it's that size, it's good enough, no matter how much larger it is. Now,
In the bottom, you wouldn't think that they would have these conversations.
oh sure, special always at the minimum size, yeah. Rabbi Matir Achsadra bebeis Shari. Rabbi allowed carrying in an Achsadra in Beis Shari, that's a town in the north of Israel in the Galil called Beit Sharim. How many pillars did this Achsadra have? Now, this is an interesting case. It's not brought down here. Here's our Perush Chai for the Yerushalmi, but it's not brought down here. The case is like this. Yeah. If you have, here's the Achsadra. Okay, roughly speaking. So these are all open areas, right?
He was so involved in his Torah that he was afraid it wasn't even, I can't say that it's going to be able to be tied by other people. I have to do it myself.
It's closed on top. Even though Tzuras Pesach was open on top, this Achsadra Rebbe was matir was closed on top. Okay, so they asked, how many pillars does it require? Now, pillars means on each side. Why would you need a pillar on each side? No? For that you have the corners. Why do you need pillars? So it's brought down the first bring it's a little more later, more explicit. Limno rego rabim, to prevent the masses from coming in. Okay, the pillars are to prevent the masses from coming in and canceling the wall. So how many do you need? So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yaakov Amar Rabbi Chia Bar Chia Rabbi Yosa Chadamar Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yosa Chadamar, one said Shisha 6 pillars, but Chadamar Shmon the other said 8 pillars. Rabbi Yaakov Brachvelo, please, they don't argue. Mandamar Shisha lo mechashav ilan train barya. He who says 6 doesn't count the 2 corners. In other words, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you'd have 6 on each side. On each side you need 6. And then you'd have the 2 end ones. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 7 and 8. Okay? So there's no machlokas, needs 6 pillars in the middle and the 7 and 8 pillar on the corner. Okay? So it says the Gemara, the truth is, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Shem Elazar said, Lo sof dover shisha, lo sof dover shmoni. You don't need 6, you don't need 8. Or rather, imayu rabim boikim ba. If many people pass through the Achsadra, it should be afilu kama. Transpose the word at the end, next line, the word at the end of this line, according to Korb Chaim Kanievsky. Afilu kama you asr, that no matter how many pillars you have, it's asr. In main rabim bokiba, many people do not pass through it. Afilu shnaim, even if it's only 2 pillars, it's still mutter. It's still mutter. In other words, the bottom line, it depends on traffic, not on pillars. Mada hava avda. And that which it had pillars there in Beis Sharim, that was just the Meiser Shoya Kain Hoya. That was just the way things took place, but really the pillar is not an essential component of this equation. Achsadra, which is open completely to Rishus Rami, relying solely on Pitikra. Rabbi Law and Rabbi Yechanan, Tarvei and Amin, they both said metal including you can carry on the entire Achsadra because they say Pitikra Yerbisosim. Shmuel Amar Emetali Boy Elo B'Yarma. Shmuel says even though it's got a roof, you can only carry underneath for less than 4 amos. Rabbi Yossi said, I don't Doesn't Shmuel concede that where you have a mavi which has a roof above 20 amos, it's okay? So if that's the case, so the achsadra should be the same thing. Now I forgot to mention that the achsadra is above 20 amos. So I told you about a case where the achsadra itself is above 20 amos, right? Elamizbar savar Shmuel, hu she'kol hechsher korah b'toch esrim. Shmuel says that, and nonetheless, even though the kirui, even though the covering of the mavi can be above 20 amos, nonetheless, the koro, which is your recognition, that's got to be within 20 amos. So here the achsad is completely above 20 amos, so then it's not matir. Why is that? Because you're lacking what a heker. What's that? You're lacking something which is you're going to catch your eye below 20 amos you don't have. Okay? Says the Gemara, Asa Ravach, this is the same idea. It should be like ki Asa Rabbi Yacha. When Rabbi Yacha came to Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chanina came to Rabbi Yesh, they both said Vushia Kor Hechsher Kor, but they'll meet that the Korah's be within 20 amos of the ground. Rabbi Yesh said, Afilu D'Sava Shmuel B'Mavi Mekor L'Ma'al Mesrim Ma'ama Kosher. Even if Shmuel would hold that a Mavui, including the Koira, is above 20 amos, it's still kosher. Lo dami mavi l'achsadra. It's not kabul d'achsadra. Achsadra is still possible if it's above 20 amos. Why is that? Mavi nasa l'tashmish batim. A mavi is made to use the walls for the purpose of the houses around it. Achsadra lo nases el l'tashmish. It's a type which should be avir. Achsadra is only made for the purpose of its air. Now, this is a toughie. What it means is that achsadra, the walls, it has no, basically what it means, very babat, is achsadra has no walls. Right, well, essentially. Achsadra has no walls, and even if it has walls, the walls don't relate to the achsadra. The walls are the walls of the house around it. In other words, it's possible to have a scenario in which achsadra will be surrounded by walls. But that's only by happenstance, by coincidence. Really, the achsadra is, like you said before, a gazebo. It's not meant to have walls, right? So therefore, since that is the case, we're more machmir by an achsadra. By a mavi, even if it's above 20 amos, we might say it's okay as long as it's roofed over. But by an achsadra, that's because a mavi has walls. The walls pertain to the mavi. By an achsadra, which is made specifically as a gazebo, it's made without inherent walls, even if by coincidence in some cases it does have walls, and therefore more machmir with it, and therefore where the roof is above 20 amos, it's not good by an achsadra. Okay? So Shmuel Shita. Even though it has the pillars. Because pillars don't substitute for bona fide walls.
Throws it off track. Then it makes it even more obvious that you're not a wall.
No, it's still not a wall. I mean, if they're within 3 tefachim of each other, maybe, but that wasn't required here. Okay? So it says the Gemara, it's only made for airspace. Covered airspace, perhaps an airspace. And what's the proof of that pudding? The proof is that, let's say you don't have all things are equal, meaning you have no roof on either one. So all the mavi requires is what? Alechi or koira, that's all. Right? Doesn't need more than that. Why is that? Because it has walls. Achsadra she'ena makura. However, achsadra she'ena makura. If however you have an achsadra which has no roof, the nasna koira b'toch, and you happen to put a beam on it, and said, "Okay, I'll put up a beam just like a mobile." Nasna koira b'toch esrim. You're very machmir. Put the koira within 20 amos. Shema klumu. Did you do a thing? Obviously, it's meaningless. Why is that? Because it has no walls. So therefore, in achsadra, you have to be more machmir. Achsadra, even though Shmuel holds that a mavi above 20 amos might be good, and achsadra above 20 amos will not be good. That's the bottom line. Again, because mavi's got walls, achsadra got no walls. Even if it has walls, they're only coincidental, and that's why it doesn't work.
And you don't say PT
What? Shmuel's PT doesn't work above 20 by achsadra. But it's first the best will work, because you already have mechitzas. Because they're mechitzas, but achsadra doesn't have mechitzas. I know, I'm making that up. I take that back. Is that right? Repeat tikra not work here either above 20? Yeah, that's what Shmuel says. You don't say repeat tikra above 20 amos. That's right. By Movi you would, and not by an Afsadra. Again, because the Movi has the advantage of walls, and the Afsadra doesn't.
I thought even if you say PT, it wouldn't help anyway. Why should what's PT mixing up walls? The walls of the Afsadra aren't for purposes of the houses around it anyway. So therefore, what if it does have walls? I mean, what does PT do?
Maybe that's it. Maybe you're right. In other words, you're saying that it's not the shot that P. Tikra does work. It's that P. Tikra is meaningless in the context of Achsadra because P. Tikra wants to create walls, and there are no walls. On the contrary, walls are counterproductive in terms of what Achsadra does. The truth is, you're probably right because we paskin that a Tzuras HaPesach works above 20 amos, and we are like Shmuel that a Tzuras Pesach works about 20 amos, even if your entire area is Tzuras Pesach, even if you have no bona fide walls. And if we are like Shmuel, literally the way I explained him, so one could critique that and say when the Tzuras Pesach work, only when the Tzuras Pesach is affixed to true walls, right? And not where the enclosure is made of Tzuras Pesach. But you're averting that question by saying the reason why the P. Tikra doesn't work by Afsadra is because the unique nature of an Afsadra, the La'avir Kavik, that's made for air. But anything which is made for walls, even if the walls are entirely Tzuras HaPesach, in that case we would say the Tzuras HaPesach from above 20 amos. Am I repeating you accurately?
Yes.
It's a very good svara. Okay? It has to be something like that because that's where we passed it. The Tzuras Pesach above 20 works. Okay, of course we might not pass like Shmuel, we might pass like Sadra works above 20 as well. But if we had to say Chiluk Aloch, that's the Chiluk we'd have to say. Okay. Here's an interesting case. The Movi was at its mouth 15 amos wide. Rabbi Bob Ravuna B'Shem Rav said Osa Pashel Sholosh Amos. You make a board of 3 amos, v'choshu and slightly more. Marchiku min ha'koisel shtei amos. So let's draw this. I'm convinced that there's pictures in the Bavli too, but you have. This is the Movi. It's 15 amos across. Right. So in order to be matir, you go 2 amos away from here. Then you put up a pass of 3.1. So now, and here's where this is not drawn the scale obviously, but let's say this opening is slightly less than 10. This is 9.9, right? That works. Why does that work? Because now your opening has a lechi in it. What's the lechi it has there? What's the lechi? Lechi.
The person, let's say, does not
because besides spectacles, that still needs a lechi. What's the lechi? This mashu, right? Because this is 2 plus 2 and 3.1. That's 5.1, right? So the 0.1 is the lechi on the 9.9.
You're fine, but I'm saying in regards to the specific Gemara says
Just when we suspend it there, or you have another.
obviously.
This is where the years of doodling in class pay off.
Because he defined Mizalzo as someone who's not known.
That's 2. That's 3.1. That's 9.9. Is that helpful at all? So what's your on this 9.9? What's your lechi? The sliver of this beam is your lechi. The rest of the beam serves as oimei meruba parts on this. More standing structure than free space. The sliver over here still serves your lechi for this area across here. Okay? Is that more understood? Okay, so says more Amrei Bar Papi. Oh no, I'm not there yet. Sorry. Also again, also pass Pasha Shoshav's kosher Machim Rekosh but to go 2 miles away from the wall. Also the kosher need a mishul shum lechi. That makes it lechi. And it should be Liebman changed it to Vishari and it's mutter, but I would change it differently now that I look at it again. I would say Vashar, Vashar, and the rest of I would read it Kipshuto, and the Shar means the rest of the board is Matir the other side, the 2 amos, Vushia Oime Rabel Chol, as long as they have more board than there is open space, which of course here you have, because here the board is 3 amos, this is only 2 amos. Okay, so the whole thing is mutter in this case over here. Okay? So it says the Gemara, why do you need such a broad pass? Why do you need such a broad board? Make one which is 4 tfachim. Now, how are you going to make the one which is 4 tfachim? If you take a look at your picture, it's really like picture hay. So it's not 4 tfachim wide, but 4 tfachim deep. Now it's divide the movi into 2. And then each you have 2 mavos, each of 7.5 amos, of which the beam, the board going lengthwise will serve as lechi for each one. Forget about the korah on top. So why do you need to have a board which is 3 amos, which is make 1 4 tefachim wide, which is the minimum shiur of a mavi, and let's divide the mavi into 2? Good question, right? Dr. Smil? Suzuki, you with us?
There was a picture like this in the
yeah, it was one of this is very this is very similar to the Bavli, but not the answer. Wait till you see. Amar Rabbi Barbar Papik de understand below Korah. Rabbi Barbar Papi said, in this case we want to be matir both of them without a Korah, and in that case you would need a Korah. I'm not sure why you would need a Korah. My hunch is you need a Korah to see, and hey, there's a Korah obviously. My hunch is that you need a Korah because since that thing in the middle is serving to divide the mavoi, it's the walls of both mavos. Since the wall of both mavos in itself cannot be the lechi. Do you understand that logic? So you need either a Tulchaim or a Korah in this case.
Well, say that it doesn't look like that for hacking purposes.
What?
Doesn't look like
I might say that. Maybe that's that. Cause it looks like a wall, not like a lechi. What did you want to say?
I just want to say probably something can't serve 2 purposes.
Well, this board does. That's because it's wide enough to serve 2 purposes. That's what you want to say, right? It has to have the width to serve 2 purposes. Okay. That's what you should be saying. All right, anyway, so let's tell you that along those lines. So it says the Gemara, Tani. There's some who say you don't even need this board, which you have in the hay, but it's even enough. Isai Tani Mami Kone V'Dukron. So all you need is a twig. Dukron is something similar, some sort of stake. That's all you need to divide the mavi into, not more than that. There's one who says you need 4 tefachim. Now, I'm Rabbi Yisrael Locha Koim Oisa Pasar Bar Tefachim. The Lochas you need 4 passive 4 tefachim. Why? Because what would we say if that was a stick only? Who remembers what we would say if it was a stick? Why would a stick not work? In lieu of that board, why would a stick not work? Just a stick planted at the end of the muffin. The airspace on both sides cancels the stick in that side. In that case, where you have just the stick in the middle of nowhere, airspace just cancels it out. I see the constant's drawing a blank for you.
Yeah.
The very beginning of Eruvin in the Bible, yeah. Remember, I'll remind you. Remember the tzitzis? Why do you have the tzitzis with the not the waist, the V-neck? So you don't say asevir daigisa v'haigisa umavatale to the shoulder strap. In other words, the shoulder straps have to be wider than the middle part, than cut out, in order to say asevir the haigisa avir olam, and the haigisa the neck and be mavato the beggar. Okay. So the same thing here. That you have to be a choshva, makom choshva, which is for tvachim, in order to avert the problem. Asya v'yivir the haigisa mavatole. Now, Rabbi Yaakov Rabbi Levi. Oh, I skipped. Sorry. I'm Rabbi Esel Kediva Alokai Ma'is Pasar Bar Tvachim Tadir Shingam Leomer. Mavi Sheish Lo Shnei Pesachim. This is an amazing statement. Shingam Leo. To the best of my recollection. Not just my recollection, the Rashba recollects this as well. This is not in the Bavli. Rosh Hashanah says an amazing thing. He says, Movishish Lo Shnei Pesachim, it's got two openings at the front of the Bavli. Neisen Korah Bechol Enu Matir. One Korah suffices. It's got two doors, one Korah is enough. You don't need a Korah on both. Is that clear? Yeah. In other words, if this is the Mavli, it's got two doors, right? So you only need a clear on one side, not on the other side.
Isn't that a lechi, that hole in the middle?
No, assuming it's not a lechi for some reason. I'll make it long enough so it's not a lechi. You still only need one door, one clear. Okay? Why it's not clear? It doesn't say. Pasha says they only need one kol lechi because it's one lechi, one kor. Because once you have a heker is enough. But it could also say that it's because of mechita, and the din mechita only requires one kor. But it's more reasonable to say it's because of heker. Now that'll be also obvious later on. Says the Gemara.
That's how they.
Rabbi Yaakov Hashem Rabbi Levi said, "Ein locher shegam, we don't pass like him." Rabbi Barabba said, "V'hu shehemit konev dukron." This is only if you have a stick. I'm also pasar ba tvachim, but that in other words, we don't pass like shegam if you have a stick on. But if you have a pasar ba tvach locher shegam. In other words, if you made a pass.
Never going to be. Once you lose it, you lose it.
1 second.
Make a possible, it's funny, that's like a lechi.
Yeah, it should be. So I don't remember which one this is going on. In other words, it sounds like for the Gemara that it's even if it's a pass this way, then a loser shengamil you only need a core over one. But you could learn the Gemara elsewise that it's this way, and then if you have it over here, then a pasar ba, so then you don't need another one over here. Okay, I'm not sure which Rabbi Shlomo is saying. It's not clear from the Gemara.
How wide is the opening of the movement to begin with? Is it 15 or is it the standard 10?
No, it could be the standard 10. You still don't need two. Okay. Anyway, so it says Gemara. I must have passed our boat for long shringam leo. I don't know.
It's referring to 15.
Maybe, but it's not clear. It could be anything. That's the beauty about the Yerushalmi. Could be anything whatsoever. Could be this way, could be this way, could be that way. We don't know. But the bottom line is, the Shigam Leo holds that the two openings do not need a single Kleira. And in certain cases, we even pass like Rabbi Shigam Leo. Vitani Kane. Now, this is a very interesting case. Vitani Kane. Mavui. For this you have to look at the Perush, the Reb Chaim Kanievsky's Loch Tziurim here. You see picture Aleph, it's got 4 openings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count them. So if you put a Korah over one of those openings, that's like a picture Aleph, it's mutter. Why is it mutter? So Reb Chaim learns that the reason why it works because Korah is Mishum Mechitza. Reb Chaim being Reb Chaim Kanievsky. And therefore, in this case, you got Oimed Merubeh. Why do you have Oimed Merubeh? Because the 2 middle ones are covered. The 2 middle ones are covered, and that covers the 2 side ones, right? But what if you did it like base? So if you did it like base, so then Nicha Oimed Shakan Matir Pirter Shakan. The Oimed of the first 2 on the right can be matir the next one immediately to the left. Aval, however, mi matir. Where am I? Which is going to be matir, the last one. Okay?
The one opening is bottled to the 2, whereas in base...
The opposite.
No, in Aleph you have 1 on each side.
The one on... that's what you meant. Okay, the one on each side is bottled to the 2, right. Whereas in base, the one all the way on the left has no connection at all with the one all the way on the right, with the 2 all the way on the right, so therefore it's stuck, it doesn't work.
What's the principle why the one, each one on the side is bottled to the middle?
Because it's like Oimed Merubeh. Because that Korah makes the 2 middle ones as if they're shut. Once they're shut, they're the overwhelming majority of, vis-a-vis each one, they're the majority. In Bays, hypothetically, you could say the same thing, because the same, yeah, but it doesn't help because it's off the side, it doesn't pertain to the one all the way on the left. Okay, this is a little bit doichak way of learning Sugi, because the way Reb Chaim he admits it. He just says, I have no other way of learning it. Because the way it's drawing the Korah is not over 1, it's over 2. It sounds like more we're talking about a case of the Korah is over 1 of the 4, but he says it makes no sense. He can't figure out how that will work, and therefore he drew it that the Korah is over 2 of the 4. Okay, like he drew it. Okay, now says the Gemara further. I'm Rabbi Simisi Potiker Shingamlio, Vleisat Shmamina Klum. Says the Gemara, you know what? This works. You wanted to say that this works, this might work, or might be true only according to Shin Gamliel. According to Shin Gamliel, might even be true, even if you only draw it over 1 of the 4. In other words, I didn't point this out, and it's a point to point out, and I slipped. When it says, when this sugi began, this immediate past sugi, 4 lines ago, V'tayin came Movish Ishlar Bob Sachim. That meant that even according to Rabbanan, this can work. And the scenario Reb Chaim Kanievsky drew is one which will work even according to Rabbanan. Because once you said Oimed Merubeh, right, so that even according to Rabbanan, the 2 sides are cut off in Aleph, whereas in base they're not cut off, the one all the way in the left is not cut off, because it doesn't have any relationship to the ones on the right. Says the Gemara, no. It could be when Rabbi Yosef said this halach, he didn't mean to go even according to Rabbanan. He meant to say it only according to Shin Gamliel. And could be according to Rabbanan, you need a Korah across each and every one. And the truth is, if you think about it, there's a more lomdisha issue here. If you learn Aleph works, and you have to say Korah is mishum what? Which means it is? Which means it's a what? What is a Korah? It's a mechitza. Whereas Rabbanan hold that Korah is because of Heker. So it could be that like Rosh Gamliel, this works because Korah is mishum mechitza. Could be even more. Could be even 1 of the 4 is good enough. I'm just adding that in. The Gemara doesn't say that. It could be even 1 of the 4 is enough because you need some mechitza in front. But like Rabbanan hold, Korah is mishum Heker, so you need on each and every one, you need its own Korah. Okay, so I think that's a a subconscious trend in the Gemara here. The beyond the spoken trend of whether Rachlokas or Rabbanan Shalom, there's an understood question of which is going on, which is whether Kar Lech is Mishum Mechitza, Kar Lech is Mishum Heker, or Shalom holds Mishum Mechitza, and Rabbanan holds because of Heker. I can't prove that, but that's what I think. Okay, next case. Mava Yakum Umafulish. The case is a case, picture number Gimel. You have a twisted Mavli. Forget the dotted lines for a moment. Mavli goes at an angle. Okay? So, in this case, Mefulish, and it's open. On both sides, open to Rishus Rabbi. Rabbi Yochanan Amar said, Lechi v'kor mikan v'os etzur spes mikan. Rabbi Yochanan says, at point Gimel, here, Rabbi Isai, you make a lechi over here, and over here, according to Rabbi Yochanan, make a tzuras Pesach. Okay? In the Bavli, there was in Rashi, and Mahalach would say you have to do something here in the middle too. But Lieberman said it's clear in Yerushalmi not to learn that way. Okay? Even though some of the Farshim go to town, try to learn that way, he says, it brings down a Rav Yah, a Rishon, who says not that way, and it makes much more sense if you don't. So Rabbi Yochanan say you need a lechi or a kor over here and a tzuras pesach over here. Rabbi Shlokish Amar noisin lechi or koira. You need a lechi over here and a lechi over here, a kor over here, a kor over there, a lechi or a kora, but you don't need tzuras pesach. Notice a lechi or kora umati, and that's sufficient. I'll die to the Reish Lakish. Now, what's going on here? What's machlokas? What's the story? I'll die to the Reish Lakish. Bikshu la'asos lem ta'akona. According to Reish Lakish, you want to make them a ta'akona. What's ta'akona we want to make them? Now, the Stipler son did not mean this, like the Rav Yah. But according to Lieberman, according to Rav Yah, it means that Reish Lakish regards this as two separate mavos. And therefore, according to Reish Lakish, this Mavi can use till here, and this Mavi can use till here, till their dotted line. You see what's going on? They use till here, and they use here, so it's like two separate mavos. We'll get there. Al daita Rishim and Lakish, Elam Mishtamshi, Biksha Sabitakora, Elam Mishtamshi, Mokum Kaisel. Again, according to Rav Yah, Mokum Kaisel means for these guys up to this wall, and for these guys up to that wall. Okay? Not all the way to the wall opposite them, but to the place where the wall almost would cut off the Mavli. Okay? Vulonim to ask the Gemara. No, according to Rav Yah, this is not a question. Reb Chaim learns a question. Reb Chaim learns. I'll tell you what Chaim learns in a minute. But the way Rav Yah learns says, and this way, if I use till here, and you guys use here, we're not both using the same rishus. They're using their side. They're using their side, and they're not using the rishus which is also to them. It's like near bibifnim v'shavah mibachutz. The fact that there's a wall going the other direction reminds me not to carry behind there. Yeah. Don't need a lechi kara there. That's Reish Lakish's purport. Rabbi Yochanan, right? As we pass to Rabbi Yochanan, right? Rabbi Yochanan says you want to look, you have to look at the whole thing as being one big mavli, and there we need it's a Pesach and lechi, right? That's Rabbi Yochanan's shita. He sees if it's a straight mavli, and just like a straight mavli, the halach is the Tzuras Pesach on one side, lechi on the other side. So too the same thing over here, and therefore, according to Rabbi Yochanan, they can all use the same thing, the whole thing together. But Reish Lakish holds it's two separate mavos because of the 90-degree angle.
No, but I'm saying that.
No, and that's the Eker. I'm answering you. That's the Eker, the fact that there's 90-degree angle. Reish Lakish holds they will. Now, according that's the way the Rav Yah learns. It's a very nice pshat, right? The way the Reb Chaim Kanievsky and the others learn it. It means that also there are two separate votes, but Rabbi says they can use till the very end over here, and they can use to the very end over here. And on that, the Gemara asks, on that now, Velonim 2 is a question, it's not a statement. Where the Rav Yoel learns a statement. Velonim 2 shtei reshus, mishtav shus achas. Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, Velonim 2 shtei reshus, mishtav shus achas. 1 second, they're overlapping here, they have no right to do so. And according to him, the Gemara answers, it's an answer that they both use like this, which is very schwer. Right? Because then there's mamish no hecker. Right, because then you're just going, they're making it hypothetical diagonal, which really is very difficult, right? And then, but then the Gemara says, what's
wrong with having an overlap?
Then they have to, since Reish Lakish holds at 2 different mavos, they have to do a new shituf. They can, hypothetically. But they have to do a separate sheet of between Mishatif the 2 mevos. Okay? Now, says Rav Karei, Rabbi Yochanan, Shmuel Reish Lakish. You should know that Rav and Shmuel were the protagonists in the Bavli. They dovetail with the Yerushalmi Tanamaroy. Be that as it may, says more further. Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish Havashayim B'Shakika. They were in the marketplace, the Rabbi Yitzchak or Rabbi Yitzchak, which was such a case. A Mavli Yaakov. Reish Lakish tilta kadait, Reish Lakish carried, like he held. Rabbi Yochanan lo asar lo tilta. He didn't answer, but he wasn't metalta. There was no tzuras of Pesach. There were 2 l'chayim, there was no tzuras of Pesach. He didn't answer for them to carry, but he wasn't metalta. Rabbi Yochanan said, even though I disagree, Hanichul b'nei Mavli, let them alone. Shushoygin value mazidim. Let them carry b'shoygin and not b'mezid. There's a principle we don't apply to modern Eruvin, obviously. But he said, let them b'shoygin and not mazid. I'm not going to make any mechos. Okay? Says Gemara, Ma tiltel? Did he carry or lo tiltel? What was Rabbi Yochanan himself doing? Eating my tilted because they carry Machava Shitza say the Rabbi Yochanan. Because they carried, so he contracted his own Shita. Eating my low tilto. If his own was not carried, Yasu name Mavli. So I think the lines are mixed up here. I think the Mutav Shushoyim Mazurim should be afterwards. You know, I think with the Gemara, that line. Rabbi Yochanan should be after the whole question of Matilta. It would make much more sense that way. If you transpose that, you understand what I'm saying? So there would be Matilta lo tilta. Itever tilta mechavish the Rabbi Yochanan. Itever lo tilta yasem name Movi. So Rabbi Yochanan Hanil name Movi Sheshorim Alim Mazina. Then, and the Gemara continues, Rabbi Yochanan bito Rishuso. Alright, so if that's the case, how are the other people allowed to carry? Rabbi Yochanan was obstructing them by not participating in their Eruv, right, in their Shituf. That was Mavata Rishus then. Said, I can't carry anyway, I'll be Mavata my Rishus to you guys. Magnanimous gesture. Rabbi Hacha said, no, he wasn't Mavata Rishus. Kaf Reish Lakish Rabbi what can I tell you? Now, according to Rabbi Kavnei, he just called him Barias. But the Limmer brings out gears of Zokifle, which means really physical force. Yeah, he probably picked him up by the collar and said, carry or else. Okay? So he forced him to carry. Imagine it happening nowadays. Rabbi Yasser says, Staka good thing he forced him to carry. Why? Bitter Rishus wouldn't work here. And the truth is, interestingly enough, this in my time as right mayor. This is out of left field. This is in fact the sugi we're going to learn the Bavli, like sheer coincidence tomorrow. Okay? My time as the right mayor. We haven't gone there yet, but it's a sugya of tomorrow, which is what's logical in mayor. A mayor holds that if somebody's not moinev, let's say have it stoiking, who doesn't concede the Ke'er, Mechal Shabbos, your Erev, he can't be Bittul Rishus. Right? Can't be Bittul Rishus. Why can't he be about Rishus? Because also so Kishoige, it's amazing. Even if he's a Shoige, they made him like amazing. Why they make him like amazing? Because not Moed Beiruf. Doesn't know the whole thing. So how can he be about Rishus? By him it's a joke. can't be about the rishus. It's not. It's a meaningless gesture on his part. So that's why we are machmir to be socher rishus. Well, we're machmir socher rishus from Chal Shabbos because they're not moed beiruf. How are you going to make the part of Erev Chatzeros? You can't be about the rishus. You can't do Erev Chatzeros, right? So we are socher rishus from Chal Shabbos. Now, my time at the Rabban wrote that a Chal Shabbos can be about the rishus. Why? So he says, what it means is, according to the Mefarshim here, it means is that the fact that they carry it's not because they're not moed beiruf. It's because they don't understand that there's an issue to carry. They don't know the Rabbanan, so they're not. They were not brought up with the concept of Nisuin D'Rabbanan, so therefore they do not, even if they're mazed in carrying, what they're really shogeg. Tinok Shanishba, exactly. That's the concept, right? Tinok Kemazine. So Armin Lay, and they said if that's the case, since that is the case, in Kani, if that's the case, says so name Rabbi Yochanan, then the enemies of Rabbi Yochanan, that's the Lashon Saginor. It's a language, it's indirect language. What we really mean to say is Rabbi Yochanan himself. If you want to say something bad about somebody, you would say the enemies of that person. So then the enemies of Rabbi Yochanan, meaning Rabbi Yochanan himself, should be considered like it's Toikio b'nei Mavli. V'yaso b'nei Mavli. It's like Rabbi Meir. He can't be in Vavata Rishus. Why he can't be in Vavata Rishus? Because it's not moed beiruf. Why it's not moed beiruf? Because he holds you can't make an eruv here. So if that's the case, he can't be in Vavata Rishus. The only way he can get to participate is like Rish Lakish did. By doing what? By compelling him to carry. You understand the logic? He's not a moed beiruf. The Gemara was going to put him out.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
It's not completely analogous, though, because
the more I realized that even the Yerushalmi, they're very smart. They knew, no, it's not comparable. It's Stoiki Choshel L'Taltalin. It's Stoiki is Choshel to carry because it doesn't agree to air. Here, what are you saying? Meaning that here, Rabbi Yochanan, he doesn't know that it's us. He does not. He's not an Einu Moed Be'erev. He's a Machmir. That's why he's not carrying. But he's a Moed Be'erev, so he's a Vata Rishus. It's a Val Bittul. You can't make a comparison to its Stoki, right? So there's no comparison. That's interesting. It sounds like the Gemara held in its Havamina, though. Although maybe I'm misunderstanding, but it seems to me the Gemara held in its Havamina that Reish Lakish had to force Rabbi Yochanan to be Choshesh Rabbi Meir Shita. So it seems like in this we pass like Rabbi Meir that it's Stoki cannot be about the Rishus. Because that's Rabbi Meir holds. Stoki can be about the Rishus. Rabban hold he can. So I guess in this case he held he passed like Rabbi Meir. Anyway, it's not so important. What's another example of nafkamina ramification machlokas Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish? This time Rabbi Reish Lakish will come out with chumrah. Also can mean key. Now it was made like a key, a kai. You see the Korban shot? See the Korban drawing? Looks like a letter Ches. So Lieberman says it's wrong. Guess why he says it's wrong? Oh, you guys are such great maskilim. Very good. Because what does a kai look like? Oh. You're not such a great maskil.
That's Lieberman's book, Hellenism and Jewish Palestine, and that's...
It's an X. Right, sure, yeah. Yeah, Kai is an X. So he says you have two mavos, it means like you have two mavos like an X. So now Rabbi Isai, in that case, according to Rabbi Yochanan, what do you do? According to Rabbi Yochanan, what do you do? How many Tzuras Pesach, how many L'chaim do you need? According to Rabbi Yochanan. How many Tzuras Pesach, how many L'chaim? There are 4 openings. How many Tzuras Pesach, how many L'chaim?
One source of Pesach, but it's also that it's in other words, you can, if you have a fault to take care of.
Gang, double gang. 2 Tzuras of Pesach and 2 L'chaim. Because each one of the two, they're really two mavos, right? Each of which needs a Tzuras HaPesach on one side, Lech on the other side. Put them together, you need two Tzuras HaPesach, two L'chayai. According to Reish Lakish, you can't do nothing in this case. He might concede to Rabbi Yochanan, perhaps, but he might not. According to him, certainly you can't suffice with the lechi on either side. You can't suffice with four l'chaim. Where's Rabbi Yochanan? Where Reish Lakish hold two l'chaim suffices? When you have an angle, because what does the angle do? It's a cutoff, right? So you have a lechi on each side suffices because they're two separate mavos. But here, are there any cutoffs? There are no cutoffs. So in this case, Reish Lakish would not say his opinion that l'chayim suffice at all openings to the mavli.
There's no cutoff right at with the junction.
No, because it's not. Because each one continues on further.
But there's still a right angle.
That doesn't matter because the right angles could nullify by virtue of the fact that they're right angles into all four of them. Okay? So again, also mean key. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Nosin Lechi v'Kor v'Kan v'Tzoros v'Tzoros Pesach Mikan. You need on each one you need a Lechi Kor on one side, Tzoros Pesach the other side. Shlakish Amar Filu Kam B'Kor Seder Matirin so. Even though normally I hold a Kor on one side, Lechi the other side, a Kor on one side, Kor on the other side, Lechi one side, Lechi the other side, Kor and Lechi. Here it's not going to do any good. Okay? Rabbi Yirmiyah Shem Rabbi Bu. New case. There are two pshatim b'nei Moshe. Lieberman says one of them is correct, so we'll go like the one which he says is correct. This is the Mavli, and here's the opening, right? And the Pirtz is in the back wall. The other interpretation of which the Pnei Moshe gives is that it's a regular Mavli, and there was a blockage over here, and then he got an opening over here. That's a Konegdo means opposite on the other side of that opening, according to that pshat. According to his first shot, Konegdo means opposite over here. The reason why this is very difficult to work with, as Lieberman points out, is because then you go into the whole Shai Rashim Gamliel, maybe one Kor Lechi suffices for both openings, right? And we would like to avoid that issue, right? So therefore it's best to deal with this case when it's on the opposite side over here. Okay, so says Gemara further, Mavi Shnivetz Mikonegdo, Arba, the shiur in which it passes is if this is more than 4 tvachim. And then if this is more than 4 tvachim, so then I need on this side a Tzuras HaPesach. Okay, again, where do I say a Lechi on one side is enough, a Lechi on the other side is enough? Even according to Reish Lakish, it's only width by a Mavli Yaakov, by a closed or by a Mavli which is goes at an 90-degree angle. But by this Mavli, since it's a straight open Mavli, so even Reish Lakish agrees I need a Tzuras HaPesach on one side and Lechi on the other side. Okay? So it says as long as it's 4 tvachim open on the other side. Minat Sad, however, the opening is not on the back wall, but the opening is on the side, then the shiur is up to 10 amos. As long as it's less than 10 amos, you're okay, you don't need any tikkun there whatsoever. Chavrai b'shem Rav said, Lo shani ben Konegdo ben Minat Sad arbo avu. The Chaver in the name of Rav want to say even if the opening is on the side, it's still, once it hits 4 tvachim, it needs its own tikkun, it needs a Tzuras HaPesach or something over there. Now, why would that be? So it says Gemara, Madam min atzad yosem yeser, ha eser muter. He who says that Hamboy Memer, skip 3 words. They want to say Madam min atzad yosem yeser. He who says that on the side it's only a problem if it's more than 10. If it's 10 or less, it's okay. That's only if there's a width of 4 tvachim. Meaning that from beyond the wall, there's 4 tvachim. Beyond the opening. Let me draw that for you.
Actually, really started off from the Shizonis.
Okay, that's Minat Sad. So as long as then this is 10, right? And this will be 4 tvachim. Okay? Is that clear? So man, Yeah, we had it in the Perush Chai too. First parak. Manda marmina tzad Yerushalmi. Boy, man, the one that say manda marmina tzad Yerushalmi, it's only bad if it's more than 10, or esamut if it's less than 10, it's okay. That's only b'sheyesh b'rochav arbo, sham rochav arbo. It's only if there's 4 tvachim width over here. However, why is that? Because there's still the movie still continues out beyond the opening, and then whatever koira is at the front still works for this. Still works.
Could you say that this acts as a yulachi here for this?
All right.
No, we'll get that in a second. But then it's, if there's less than 10 and there's 4 here, then that still works. Okay. He who says however that the shiur is always, as long as it's more than 4 tefachim, it's no good. They wanted to say it's only if there's less than 4 tefachim here. And why, if it's less than 4 tefachim, is that no good? Because this korah is completely divorced from this. Why is it completely divorced from this? It's not going on it's not completely divorced is the wrong term. This korah is invalid because this korah is no longer on a mavli. Those who said that the pirza, the size of pirza size 4 tefachim, the first wanted to say that it's only if this is less than 4 tefachim. Why is that? Because then this korah is not going on a mavli and it's not matir. So he wanted to say it's no machlokas. That's what they initially wanted to say. That he who said that that when this the whole outside is be at least 4 tefachim. If it's between 4 tefachim and 10 amos, it passes. Only if there's less than 4 tefachim of wall still left in front of it to the korah. If there's more than 4 tefachim, it's still good. And above 10 amos, even if there's more than 4 tefachim wall there, it's no good because it's a complete interruption altogether. That's how they initially wanted to explain it. Okay? Now, and the word tries to bring a proof of this, because lo kain sarvina meima Rav Rabbi Yochanan. Didn't we say Rav is like Rabbi Yochanan? What does Rabbi Yochanan hold, Rabbi Yisai? Rabbi Yochanan holds that a mavi akum is like mefulish, right? A mavi which is bent like this, we see it as if it's a straight mavi, right? And therefore needs here a lechi and here tzuras a pesach, right? So they wanted to say that just like Rav holds this is straight, Rav also holds this is straight. And since he holds this is straight, so that's why if you have an opening more than 4 tefachim, it's going to require a tikkun. Again, why is it going to require a tikkun? Because it's as if it's a straight mavli. If it's straight mavli, so therefore, go from here to here is a new mavli, and from here to here is a new mavli, it's going to require a new tikkun over here. Now, it's still fishy, because, so even if it's more than 4 tefachim, it should require a tikkun over here. It's not clear exactly what's going on here. But anyway, the Gemara rejects it. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Boon, Kedei la'asos kol reshus achas. The truth is that, I don't know how they translate this. Literally means that it only makes the reshus one. Meaning, what do we mean by that? What it means is that the only time Rabbi Yochanan and Rav hold that a mavli which goes around is considered to be one mavli is only where it's 2 mavos were joined together, right? Like the picture which we have over here, where mavli 1 meets mavli 2. There, Rabbi Yochanan considers it to be continuous, but here Rabbi Yochanan is not considered to be continuous. Why? Because this is not a separate mavli here, and in a more abstract sense, this is not a Pesach. What is that? A pirza. It's a break.
Yeah, but people are using it.
No, that's the assumption. In this case, people are going to use it, and that's why here you need a tzuras a pesach and a lechi, right? But here, people are not going to use this. This is still a pirza only, and therefore it's taka machlokes, and those who hold that up to 10 amos hold that no matter what, it's up to 10 amos. And now those hold it's more than 4 Tvachim hold no matter what, it's more than 4 Tvachim. Even if you have less than 4 over here, well, then it could still be more than 10 amos. Why is that? Again, up to 10 amos, again, because this is a Pirza, not a Pesach. Were it to be a Pesach, so the moment it's more than 4 Tvachim would have a problem. And then you could start playing a game and say, well, then it depends. I don't know exactly how it works, but somehow this 4 Tvachim, if that's 4 Tvachim, it's okay. But Lamaisa, it's not a Pesach. It's a Pirza. And that's why it's machlokas, and you have to say that there are two sides which disagree here. The one side which holds it's mamish a pirza, and therefore up to 10 amos it's okay. The other side which holds that it's a pirza, which is a pesach, and therefore the moment it's more than 4 tvachim, it's a problem. But there's no requirement, just because Ravs would say, in this case, if it's more than 4 tvachim, it already requires a tikkun on both sides. Then in this case, it requires a tikkun on both sides, again, because this is a true Pesach on both sides. And this is only a Pesach vis-a-vis a Pirza. Okay? All right. I think we'll stop here for tonight. So this is a new thing afterwards. Yeah, okay. The next, what we learn tomorrow night, we'll go back to Rishon Gamliel, with the unique sheet of the Yerushalmi, that you only need one cord between two openings.